about efficiency on and off the field for a game day week. Today, we have a very special guest. He's a 13-year MLB career. He has played over 1,341 games with multiple teams: St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox, the Los Angeles Angels, Texas Rangers, and also the Kansas City Royals. With that, he's had a career average of 260, and he's had 47 home runs, 422 RBIs, and much, much more. He's also coached as well at the MLB level, and he has done quite a few things. He has been a first-round draft pick. Amen. First-round draft pick from the Florida State Seminoles, one of my favorite teams. He was a 1986 MLB draft for the St. Louis Cardinals. Very own Luis Alicia. How you doing, Luis?
Good morning, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. Talking baseball is what it's all about.
We're gonna talk some baseball. Let's get right to it, because with today's society and generation, we know that mental is one of the most important things, hands down. You can't play baseball and be successful at a high level if you have a low mental game. So let's talk about, just for the high schoolers that are listening, they struggle with confidence. So what are the mental habits you think they should start establishing, to face those challenges on and off the field?
Well, that's a good question. I think people think about, when people are talking about baseball, they don't understand that the mental part of the game is the most important part of the game. It's a thinking game. You have to prepare mentally. You have to study the opponent. It's not so much about going to the cage and hitting and taking grounders. I was very fortunate that I had a really good coach when I went, not only at Florida State, we established, early trainings and all that other stuff. But when I went to the pros, I had a really good coach named George Kissel. And at the beginning, he would always, instructionally, we would have a practice in the morning and a game in the afternoon. And the next day, every first day started with like the mistakes and the good things we did as a player during the game.
Okay.
So for the first week and a half, my name was the first thing called out. 3 or 4 errors, not physical errors, like mental.
Mental errors.
Yeah, like Alicia did this. Alicia forgot to take his glasses on the field, and it was the sun. Alicia got doubled off on the line drive when their score was down. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I didn't do those things.
Mm-hmm.
But, and the guys will laugh at you because you were always the guinea pig, So about a week into it, 2 weeks into it, I got up and said, I'm going to go talk to him. So I went into his office, and, 7 o'clock, I knocked his door. Hey, Mr. Kissel, can I speak with you? I'm like, yeah, sure, come in. He goes, Mr. Kissel, I just want to know, I didn't make those mistakes. I wasn't even there. He goes, but you know what? You're going to be our starting second baseman next year in the big leagues, and I cannot afford you to make those mistakes.
Oh.
From that moment on, I became a student of the game. I really sat next to him on the field, and I was wherever he went, I went. And he would say, Luis, in every play, tell me where everybody should be, where everybody should be in a position. Never mind that he was very structured. This is a guy that if you was a catcher and you were going to be converted into a third base or first base,
mm-hmm.
they sent him to me. And that's basically, that was my first experience in professional baseball.
Wow.
My first year. So from that on, I became a student. I remember my first year in Pro Bowl in Puerto Rico. We were sitting, and Robbie Alomar was sitting next to me, and we're facing a guy. He used to pitch for the Cubs, and first time he struck him out, and he was sitting next to me, and he just staring at the pitcher, and I'm like, next at bat, I'm gonna take him deep. He goes, why? He goes, because he's tipping the changeup. I'm like, what is he doing? So I said, watch, when he tips the changeup, he open up his glove.
Right.
So I'm gonna look for that pitch. I'm gonna hit it out. Sure enough, going back, bang, he hits it out. I became obsessed with that, knowing to this day I don't play, but I watch guys on television and see if I can pick their tendencies on television. Like I've called friends of mine in the World Series, hey, your boy is tipping the slider, your boy is tipping this.
Mm-hmm.
I call them up, just to let them know. But to go back to the question just about fundamentals, I think is It's a generation of players that they're chasing trophies rather than chasing greatness. Kids, if things don't like in one team, they jump to the next. And travel baseball has done the biggest damage because the kids are not really, there's a lot of guys doing baseball that really shouldn't be doing baseball. They're doing it for the money. They're doing it, to get in people's pockets, and they'll tell you what you want here. But in reality, when you pick up 10, 12, 15 players from all over the place, and you don't practice together, and then you show up in a tournament to play, that's ugly baseball, because I've seen it with my own eyes. I had teams here when my son was playing that we started since they were 8 years old. Mm-hmm. And we kept them. By the time they were 12, we started to win tournaments. But we're talking about our stretchings were plyometric exercises, mm-hmm. getting quicker and faster and more coordinated. Our throwing program started 20, 30, 40, 60 feet gradually, to improve their arm speed, the arm strength, to make sure that they threw the ball properly. If the kid didn't throw the ball properly, we corrected them since they were little, because you see that a lot. You see a lot of kids are not being properly taught. By the time you're 15, if you're not properly taught, something wrong is going to happen with you. I would break down, offensive and defensive. So we would do the offensive days. We have 5 or 6 different stations, and we work in little things, hand-eye coordination drills, going to the ball, how to properly do little things like that, how to teach, how you wait, how to the ways about being balanced, having rhythm, having separation, having a weight transfer and a finish high swing. The steps that you need to have as a hitter. Not everybody hits the same way, but a good hitter has those things put together. You're talking about balance, being square, rhythm, separation, weight transfer, finish high. Every single one is attached to each other. You can't jump them. So the approach, I see it all the time. I'm part of an academy here. It's called the Wellington Sports Academy. It's kind of mimicking IMG, and every single coach there has been in the big leagues. Has played professional baseball. So, and I started out with John Bostic and Devon Travis. They're buddies from high school. So it's going to start next week here in Wellington, Florida. And obviously we went out and recruited the better players in the area. We did some tryouts and things like that. But our focus is not going to be, we're going to win because we have talent. We're going to win because we're going to teach it the right way. But our goal is to make sure those kids get a second chance, go to college or go to professional baseball. And every single one is done that. Not only that, but we have a program to get them into school.
I like that. That's good.
So
I like that. So now you're speaking about talent, which leads me to the next question. What's the difference between being talented and being mentally prepared for the next level? That's a good question.
Well, it's a really nice question, because I see a lot of talented players that cannot make that adjustment to go to the next level. It happens. It happened to me in college. It happened with me in the minor leagues. Guys who were more talented than myself, but they couldn't do the day-to-day grind. They couldn't hit the 2 strikes. They couldn't hit with bases loaded. They couldn't slow the game down mentally to execute that. And again, I'm a believer that the more times you get to be exposed in those situations, the better you become at it.
Correct.
So it's about teaching the kids, hey, this is where you want to be. You want to be I always used to tell my kids, remember that song ESPN? Da 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 da. When I play, I remember that song. And that was the thing I wanted. I want to be the hero. I want to be in ESPN. I want to lay down in my bed at night and watch ESPN and see myself do well. Right. And I think, there's a lot of talented kids that can get through the 12, 13, 14-year-old, but if they don't learn the fundamentals properly, what's going to happen is when they start facing better pitching, better defenders, outfielders that can cover more ground, position themselves a little bit better, what's going to happen? Those numbers are going to taper a little bit down. And they're going to find themselves, wow, I'm not hitting the way I used to. No, it's not, because you didn't really work on. I see kids in the cage working, all they're doing is hitting the top of the cage. And I have an example. I have one in particular about 7 years ago, I was working on a cage with a kid,
Okay.
and there was a kid working next to me, and he had the tee, and he was hitting the top of the net. And this kid was a senior in high school, already committed to a college, to
Okay.
I think that was Central Florida or South Florida, one of those big Division I schools. So I said to him, I said, if you have time when I'm done, I want to teach you some drills that I want you to take with you that will help you. So where are you gonna go? Oh, I'm going here. I go, oh, another coach there. I'm gonna give him. So later on after that, I gave the coach a call. He said, hey, what do you think about this kid? And like, I don't want to say his name, but
Right.
he goes, oh, Luis, he's not that good. He goes, I said, bro, let me tell you something. This kid, I don't think you have a guy that can hit the ball harder than this kid. This kid's got major league power, but he doesn't understand his swing. He doesn't know. And by the way, if he a back catcher, yes, make him a first baseman. Work with him. You're an infield. You're a shortstop. Put him at first.
Mm-hmm.
Make a long story short, I gave him the drills, and I said, I want you to religiously do these things every day. Was the player of the year. I think the first year in college, he was like 320. That second year he ended up getting drafted by Toronto. Was the player of the year. And this is a guy that if he didn't do what we was taught to do, I was trying to say, look, you what do you want? Power? You have power. You just want to be more consistent.
Correct.
You just want to be able to square more balls than anybody else on that right angle. You don't want this angle. You want that 45, the 15-degree angle balls come out. That way they have a chance.
Correct.
And you know what? He did it, and he signed professional. I think he got drafted in the 4th, 5th round. I don't know if he's still playing because I haven't followed up with him, but
Right.
that's the story that I'm like, wow, this coach would have said this guy is not a good catcher, but didn't see the potential he had to be in another position and how much he could help him offensively.
That's good because I was thinking about, we're going to talk about Major League in a second, but I just thought about the guy that was playing for Boston, the third baseman.
Devers.
Devers. Devers, yes. I thought about that based on what you just talked about because you hear so much, you don't know what's really going on. But it sounds to me that he thought it was an insult to go to first. It's just per se. I don't know if it's true, but the guy can hit. And then I thought about what you just said. Maybe he just put him as the DH for a while. He put him on first base, and it's been some issues from what I heard. Will Clark's trying to work with him. It seems to me he's kind of being reluctant. I'm just trying to figure out what is really going on because the guy can still play. So what do you think about that, Luis?
Well, there's a couple ways to look at that.
Okay.
When it first happened, as a player, I mean, he was erratic at third base, but gradually he got better. So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know he was making over 25 errors, and then he got it down to a single-digit errors, which means he made an improvement, right? So if he works that hard and makes an improvement, why all of a sudden you can't play third base?
Correct.
In a player's mind, he's thinking that, right?
Correct.
Now, the other way I looked at it is, if I'm the organization, he's a young player that came through the organization. He's a really good hitter, right?
Yes.
I will go to him in the wintertime, and I say, now I don't know if they did that or not, but I will go to him in the wintertime, and I say, listen, we feel that if we put you here, we have a better team because we're getting X player. We're trying to build a championship team, and we want you to be a part of it. You still are a big player. You still are a guy that we love, but I think we're better off if you're here as a team. We're better. I don't think that happened based on the way that everything transpired.
Okay.
Because all of a sudden you show up and a brakeman shows up at third base in the spring training and he doesn't know what position he's in. So they're telling me that they never communicated with the guy.
Correct.
So what's going to happen there? Players got egos, man. Players they're proud. They're proud people. The guy is a very proud young player. He can hit, and that guy is an asset at Boston because he can hit the ball the opposite field very well, and he can play pepper game with that ball anytime he wants to.
Correct.
So for me, that's probably what happened, and then it became he said, she said, whatever, and it became ugly. But I think they would have been better off with him at first
Right.
Look what he's doing offensively in San Francisco.
Right.
You know, he's doing really well. So I, I don't know. It's just to me, I think it could have been a lack of communication.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe an understanding on the player as well. You know.
Hmm. I just thought about that because I was thinking about him because I'm a Giants fan, even though I got a Marlins shirt. But I'm a Giants fan. I was thinking about that. I was like, something else must have transpired that we don't know. And he has an ego. He's been there. He's been the guy. And they also got some new guys coming up. We just don't know all the story. But the good thing was they got rid of him and he's at a different place. He can start over fresh, whatever that case may be, and take it where it takes him. But he's still got time. He's only 28 years old. He's still got some years left in him, and he can still hit the ball. So, and thank God they changed the rule that National League can hit DHs. Thank God they changed that
Yeah,
rule.
that's going to expand his career too, if he
Yeah,
continues to hit. Because I know him since he was first year in the big leagues. I remember seeing him and seeing with a family, and he's going to have a tendency to get a little thick, so he's going to have to watch what he eats and stay in
right.
shape. But DH will be an opening for him if he can play defense, because he can definitely hit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, that's good. Luis, I got a question. How can a player build focus and discipline now the way they carry over into college or to professional baseball? Because you need to develop focus at another level, at a higher level, and discipline. Now, how do they carry that over from college or to professional or whatever level they're at? You got any
Well,
tips?
focus, everybody's different, but how to build it is having, for me, staying focused when like I had a conversation last night with my son. He's going to college next year, even though he's not playing sports. He's going to go to school. I said, look, you have to have focus on what you really want at the end of the day, and you're going to have a short focus, or you have to have a long one. For me, my goal was always to make it into the big leagues. So all those other things around me are not going to detour me or distract me from my focus on what I needed to do.
Okay.
So I would say, look, I was a small player, and I would look at the major league ball players and say, wow, these guys are strong. This guy's got big forearms. This guy's got big shoulders. How can you play that many games and not be tired? So I concentrated in endurance. I concentrated in working out. You know, I would take, I don't even know how many grounders. I'll have one guy, he got tired, and send me another guy. I want more grounders. The days that the guy said, let's go here, my focus was, let me do my work first. Then, if that is available later, I can do it. It's just taking priorities. If your priority is playing baseball and being a major league player, which is your goal, you have to say, what do I need to do to improve myself? Now, and you separate yourself. If you're a pitcher, okay, what are the things a pitcher needs to have? Obviously, strong legs, strong core, being able to long toss, being able to get your shoulders strong, the speed of the arm and the break of the arm, you know, all that stuff, the flexibility. So guess what? Focus on those things.
Correct.
There's always time for other things. Now, if you're a position player, break it down. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? And then focus on those little things that are going to make you a better ball player. Every year, you have to improve in something. Otherwise, you're going to stay flatline and people are going to get by you. Every year, your game has to change, have to improve. You get out of the game when you're not improving anymore, when you're actually losing your skills, your speed, your arm, your reactions. That's when you get out of the game. So those are the things to me that kept me focused.
Okay.
My goal when I went to Florida State, I mean, obviously I didn't speak the language. So for me, it was a lot of lonely days. So I would go in the cage and I got myself a heavy bat and I would just start working on that and those things. And little by little, the rest of the team kind of caught on to it and we kind of became a big family and then everybody worked extra. So that was my focus. That was the focus. And what was the other question you asked me?
Discipline. How do you?
Oh, discipline is huge, huge, and it goes back with the focus because I always say the 3 Ds: dedication, determination, and discipline.
Dedication, determination, and discipline.
Discipline. You know, discipline is when your teammates say, "Hey, let's go this. We have this party over here."
Right.
you need to understand that if you do something dumb, it's gonna come back to you. You know, my dad always said to me when I left Puerto Rico, and I couldn't understand it when he told me at the airport, but later on I understood it. He goes, you need to adjust to the system because the system is not going to adjust to you, you know? And I see a lot of these kids, especially, you know, in Latin America, you're different than here. And when you come into here, you have to, in the United States, you have to be an American. You cannot do the things you did as you was growing up, you know? Discipline means eating right. Discipline means taking a rest when you need to take a rest. You know, you have a 1 o'clock game, you have a 1 o'clock game, you can't be up until 1 o'clock in the morning because you're going to be tired.
That's right.
You know, and it's funny to tell you this. When I was managing in the minor leagues, we had a 1 o'clock game, and one of my players comes to me. We had to be there. 1 o'clock games, I usually told him, listen, we're going to hit in the cage, we take infield, outfield, and we're ready for the game. So he comes in like around 9:30. Coach, I can't play. You know, why? He goes, I'm hungover. I said, that is your problem. That is your fault. But I'm going to tell you what, I want you to play because you're going to realize what it takes. You might have a great game today. And then if you throw up on the field, I'll take you out.
I like it.
I want you to play because it's going to teach you something.
Right.
Guess what? He had gone to the trainers and told them that. And the trainer said, so-and-so cannot play. I said, you cannot make the decision for him because in the big leagues, this guy cannot go to the head coach and say, Coach, I'm hungover. I can't play. What's going to happen? The next day he's going to be in AAA. Can't do that. If he puts you in the lineup, you got to play unless you have an injury. Right. And obviously, hangover is not an injury.
That's right.
You know, so that's part of the discipline that the kids, you know, but again, in today's game, the way the rules are, that's not even being followed.
Right.
Because the trainers make the decisions for you. You know, and the league has so many, you can't play 7 games already, you got a day off. You know what I mean?
That's not
it wasn't like that when I played.
That don't work like that.
You know?
That's right.
Determination. Look, the determination is key. There's going to be days that you're like, I don't feel good. I'm not hitting good. And it's going to happen a lot in this game. You know, things are not going to go the way you want to work, the way you want to be. But guess what? You're determined to do something, you do it. You continue to work. You continue to work and work. And one moment it's going to click, you know?
That's it. I appreciate it because you said some powerful stuff because at the end of the day, that's how you got to where you were. You had to work through it. You have to work through the problems. You got to work through it. You just got to keep working. You know.
Look, I give you this example. It happened to me. I remember my first year in the big leagues. It's July, hot as heck in St. Louis. Turf measures 6 feet off the ground, 138 degrees. Right.
That's right.
Hot as could be. And I'm sitting in the locker room, and Ossie's next to me. And I'm like, with my head down, I'm like, hey, how you guys do this, man? I'm tired. I'm 20 years old, 21 years old. I'm tired. He starts laughing. He goes, kid, it's the grind. This is the grind. That's why you can't overexert yourself. You got to save your energy. You know, you have to prepare for each game. Like, let's say we're facing Dwight Gooden that day. He throws really hard. So he throws a lot of high fastballs and big breaking balls. So you go and try to hit a lot of high fastballs to prepare yourself for that particular pitcher. Next day you face somebody else that throws a lot of sinkers. Okay. So now you try to hit the ball. You know, every day is different. Every day you prepare different because you're facing somebody different every day.
That's good, Luis. That's really good. I didn't think about what you just said because Doc Gooden throw a lot of high fastballs, which he did. So you prepare yourself before the game. You know what you're going to face. Right. Yeah. You just keep facing. You practice that. So the mind programs. So I'm thinking high fastball, breaking ball is going to come. It's going to come, but you got to be ready for it when it happens. I like that what you said because what you talked about rest, which leads us to the next question. Rest and recovery. A lot of guys and players think it's always better to have more swings, more lifting, and more throwing. They always think that's always the case, but rest is one of the most important, powerful things. You know, in your major league career, how important was rest for a player's development?
Rest is huge. You have training, nutrition, and rest. Those are the three components: training, nutrition, and rest.
Okay.
You have to eat. Rest is huge because that's going to help you recover. Now, there's things we did. If it was hot after the game, we'll jump into the cold whirlpool. You know, cold whirlpool. Next day, you feel better. Obviously, every once in a while, you have to pop in, Advils to get that edge off as the season goes on. You need to eat proper. I mean, there's a lot of kids that don't eat proper nutrition, proper breakfast. You got to get that fuel in you. You got to get the recovery meals inside of you.
That's right.
You know, obviously when I was established player. Like nowadays, a rookie can do it because I make almost $1 million coming in. Right. So get yourself prepared meals sent to you. So all you got to do is microwave them. Obviously, later on you eat at the ballpark. But like I had my breakfast always sent to me. Later in my career, I had breakfast made, sent to me. All I gotta do is pop them in the microwave, whether it was oatmeal, eggs, scrambled, good protein inside of you, fish, salmon in the morning. You know what I mean? I had good meals prepared. Mm. That was key. You have to do that. A lot of kids eating pizzas and burgers ain't gonna cut it. It ain't gonna cut it.
You're right. I mean, Luis, I'm glad you said that because, can you give the high schoolers that are listening or the parents that are listening trying to get their kids to the next level anything recommendations for high school so they don't burn out before reaching college? Because like you said, McDonald's, Taco Bell, because they may say they don't have the money. They don't have the money, but you do have the money. You may have to do it a little different. So any recommendations how they can get a routine that you can recommend for high schoolers so they don't burn out before they get to college? Because the bottom line is they don't eat right. Bottom line. So
it's a hard question because every family is different and every kid is different. It's really difficult. What I would say is that like my kids play sports. My little one, she's a difficult eater. She always wants to eat the easy stuff, chicken fingers. I'm like, babe, I can make chicken fingers with real chicken. Right. Like last night, she like, I want Chipotle. I said, I'll tell you what, I cut up some chicken and made it like Chipotle. She goes, Chipotle's better. I said, why is it better?
Right.
It's the same. It's a teriyaki sauce. It's not better. It's the same. I wake up in the morning. I said, you want to have a egg sandwich with a bagel or with bread? No, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. I said, whoa. I can make you the same egg with bacon here in 5 minutes. You don't have to go to McDonald's. Right. You don't have to go to Dunkin' Donuts to eat it. It's difficult. I mean, every family is different.
Right.
It all depends. But I think, going back to your question about they don't burn down, I always feel, and I've always felt this way. I say, I worked really hard to get to where I was, and I didn't feel that I was burning myself out, even though I was always consuming to the sport, consuming to getting better. I was always felt like I was always trying to, if I was in my house, I always had a bat in my hands or a dumbbell in my hands. I would lay down on the floor and I would roll the ball off the floor, and try to catch it. Little things like that. I never felt that I was burned out. I think if you really want something, you don't really burn out.
Okay.
I think, I believe you need to take a break.
Correct.
I believe you need to take a break because you don't want to go from team to team to team to team and never rebuild. I think a month or 2 months off is going to do you better. It's going to do you much better than continue to play because you have to rebuild. You got to get the arm and rest. I give you an example. There's a pitcher that is here locally in West Palm, and he's going to be a senior in high school this coming year.
Okay.
And he's mid 96, 97 all day long, right? Since he was 12, he was with me, and he was always a power guy. Well, you knew his kid was going to be thrown out because his dad is huge. He's like 6'4", lanky. You know he had that fast twitch in him. You know he was gonna throw hard. And I could tell his dad, man, you're going from team to team, you're gonna hurt him. When he was 12, the doctor told him you need to take a break or your elbow's gonna blow up.
Mm.
So dad didn't listen. Had to put him off a little bit, his elbow, whatever. As a 13, 14-year-old, he was playing flag football or something at school, and he messed up an ankle. So he couldn't really play for 8 weeks, 9 weeks. So when he started back again, it was actually better. So the dad called me up. I couldn't understand now what you were trying to tell me because I thought I was going to lose time, but I actually gained time because his muscles, he rebuilt. He gave a chance to rest and recoup, and he actually was throwing harder. So it happens. Sometimes parents don't understand that you're not missing out. Why take your kid to a showcase when he's not ready?
Wow.
It's like trying to sell a car. It's like trying to sell a car with rust, bad engine, bad thing. You know what?
It's not ready.
Nobody's going to give you top money for it.
That's right.
But if you prepare for that particular event and you wait, those numbers are going to be recorded there. Now everybody's going to see. It's hard to sell something after it's been damaged. After people have seen it, the numbers are not there.
That's right.
And because I personally, when I had the academy down here, I would look at players from the 500 and above to see which players I can bring to the academy and get better. Kids in the academy used to tell me, Coach, I'm going to this showcase. I said, bro, you're running 7.2. We want you to be at 6.7. Let's wait another year. No, but they told me, I said, listen, man, they're not telling you the truth. They want your money. If you're not throwing a certain velocity, a certain age, don't even do it.
That's right.
If you're not running and hitting a certain weight, don't do it because you're just giving somebody money.
That's right. And also the old saying is your first impression is who you really are. It's got to be your best impression. That's old school stuff. Me and you, we understand that because I'm like you said before. I mean, and for the guys that's listening, the women just listen to the show. This is episode 109, very own MLB first round draft pick for the St. Louis Cardinals, 1986. Luis Alicea is on the show, the YouGoin'Pro podcast. Like you just said, I really believe that they're trying to put the cart before the horse. And I'm pretty much like you. I tell it like it is. People don't like it, but this is what the truth is. At the end of the day, it's like going for an interview. This is your dream job. And they say, listen, you already know what they're looking for and you're not ready. So if you're not ready, just prepare to get ready. And that's something that people don't prepare for, like you said before, for the kids that are playing since they've been like 5, Luis, and they play all the way. They don't play any other sports. They don't do anything. They play from September all the way to September the next year. They never take a day off. And then all of a sudden, when they get about 13, their arm is hurting. So how important do you think, or how much time do you think they need to take off? Because, I mean, I've seen kids, they play all day, every day, all year. They act like they're the Major League Baseball team. So can you give some enlightenment about that?
I usually, when I ran the academy, we did it kind of like a professional level. Obviously, spring and summer is huge for these kids because that's what the majority of the big tournaments are, and summer is huge.
Right.
So I will take the fall to be a rebuilding time. I will minimize the amount of games. Rather than playing 40 games in the fall, I'll play 20. But I will spend more time in the gym, bigger, faster, stronger kind of plyometrics, arm recovery. I will spend more time doing fundamentals in the fall, rebuilding muscles, getting quicker, getting faster, whatever the position might have been. I clean up those things in the fall. I play less games. I still play games, but less. Cut it down by half. Okay. Like our academy played about 100 games, but I had 2 teams. So I would kind of, the higher, we played JUCOs a lot for the older players. For the younger players, everybody was in the same program. We just had to shuffle it around. But the fall for me was more of a rebuild kind of thing. Kind of like when a professional guy comes out of the season in September. So I will take, or October. My due date was November 1st.
Okay.
This is my day for start working out because December comes, too many parties, too many visits, too many trips. That's when I hit it with my ex. Like, oh, we got a trip up here. I'm like, babe, I can't. We was on the plane all year long, you know. So I will go, and then like January, boom, January 1st, started throwing and hitting,
Mm. Okay. I
throwing
like
and
that.
hitting every day,
Mm.
and the morning workouts. So it was kind of like a 5 hour day for me, you know.
Wow. I like that.
So to me, it's about the fall should be the time where you train properly, you clean up on your fundamentals, and then you get stronger. You
Hmm.
still play games because you still want to see live pitching, but you're not really doing a lot of game. You're doing more training than anything else. And
Hmm.
then spring is you're ready. You'll see the difference.
Right. Basically, you're talking about proper training, which I want to ask the next question in the area of training. Because a lot of guys, they see some videos on YouTube, they see MLB workouts without understanding the purpose behind that. So my question to you is, what is one area of training that they should focus on that they're trying to prepare for D1 baseball? Because you play D1, so what are some areas you think they need to focus on if they're a pitcher or if they're an infielder or if they're outfielder? What are some areas you think they should train
Well,
to put?
every position is different. If we're a pitcher, I always tell people they're never gonna tell you you throw too hard, right? They're never gonna tell you that. You wanna have good velocity, but you also want command. So you have to kind of like mix and match. Even though nowadays it seems like nobody cares about command, everybody cares about power, power, and power, you know. But with all these academies that are going on, um, it's great. That's where you see more velocity because all the kids are focusing on that, and it's great. So if you're a pitcher, obviously you have to focus in your lower half, but your mechanics, being able to throw 3 or 4 pitches from the same slot. That
Okay.
way your arm doesn't, hitters don't recognize it. But velo is what everybody's looking for.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, the kids that I work around here, nobody's ever going to tell you that you hit the ball too hard or you run too fast. Right? Nobody's ever going to tell you that.
Right. Right.
So for me, those are skills that are important because when you go to the showcases, when you go to the combines that I've been to for the last 4 years, exit velos 100 plus. Kids are running 6'2", 6'1", 6'4", 6'3". I mean, amazing, amazing things. So speed, athleticism is huge. It's huge. I mean, I saw it in Arizona at the combines. You're talking guys are over 6 feet, like running like diggers, fast and their bat speed is incredible, hitting bombs way out of the stadium. So I think focus on those things that are going to get you noticed because
Right.
if in the old days those things were important, but it was about your IQ.
Correct.
These kids now their IQ ain't there, but their skills are there because they're really, really training. With all these training facilities, they're getting stronger, faster, and bigger, faster, stronger.
Right.
So that's huge. I mean, that's one of the things that I think it's important for them.
Well,
Not so much about the wins and losses. Nobody cares. A scout is not going to tell you or say, "Oh, wow, you won this." They don't care. They
right.
go to a game to watch who the best player there is. If they
Hmm.
can scout the diamond in the rough, if
Hmm.
they can see that player that this guy with some training and so this guy will be good. This guy's going to play in the big leagues. You
Hmm.
know,
I
so
like
it's
that.
it's yeah.
Which leads that to that next thing you talked about. Basically, you're talking about fundamentals. How important is learning fundamentals at a young age compared to chasing velocity or power too soon? Because sometimes we do things too fast, too quick, and they don't have the fundamentals. So the importance of learning fundamentals at a younger age comparing to velocity and power. What do you say about that?
In my opinion, if you don't have the fundamentals and you're chasing velo and stuff, you're going to get hurt
Mm,
because you don't have proper mechanics.
okay.
So if you have proper mechanics, then you go after velo, then you're going to be okay. It's like
Okay.
it's like a runner, like a sprinter.
Right.
His mechanics got to be right in order for him to be better
Okay.
hitting the ball. You
Okay.
know, why chase power when you don't? I would learn to hit first. I would learn to
Correct.
become a better hitter first, rather than be a power hitter. Power hitter is gonna come when you learn your swing, when you learn how to which balls you're able to drive. Obviously some kids are so strong that it doesn't really matter. I mean, State, they'll hit it out. I mean, if you're Stanton doesn't really care. Now Stanton has great mechanics, great swing, and he's huge.
That's right.
Therefore, therefore, you see what he's done, what
Right,
he's
right.
doing.
So
You
it don't
know,
really matter. It doesn't matter. He just has the full
and
package.
if he hits the ball, hits it out. He checked. I remember Stanton check swing the ball like this
Yeah.
in Marlin Stanton, and the ball went out right field. I mean, that's kind of like crazy.
It is kind of
But,
crazy.
but those guys are that big. It doesn't really. When you're an average size player,
Right.
it's very, very important for you to have those things.
I got
You know, be good at the mechanics, be good at the fundamentals,
I like
learn to feel the ball properly.
Mm-hmm.
One I see a lot of guys teaching fielding, and they all want to teach flashiness. They all want to teach this beautiful hand and flashiness and all these dancing around the ball. Guess what? It's simple, the better. It's catch the ball clean and get rid of it. It's a proper footwork. That's all it is. I mean, I have my daughter, my youngest daughter. She really likes softball. She really likes the sport. But she grew up with me on the field with the boys, baseball. Even though she was young, I will always have her grounders, and I will teach her drill. We'll work on her knee drills, hands in front, backhand, forehand, all those little drills she's done. She's 13 years old. If you watch her field, she looks incredible. And people ask me, wow. I'm like, she's been doing it since she's 8. That's all she's ever listened from. Hands out in front, proper mechanics, hand over top, comes up. It's just everything she does. She does it like that because not only that she likes it, but she absorbs it. She doesn't have, like she pays attention. She sees things. She did her own. This past year, she did a triple play herself. She dove up the middle, caught the ball. There was a runner at first base. Had the awareness to step to second base and throw quickly to first base to get, it was first and second. That's what she dove, tagged, and threw the first because the girl in first, in softball, the girls come off with the pitcher. So she got up, bam, and I'm like, whoa, 12 years old. That was last year. Yeah.
Mm.
So
And that's high IQ too, Luis.
yeah, she's got it. But she's been in dugout with me since she was like 5 or 6 when I was coaching the other kids.
I got you.
And she sits on the meetings when we talk about plays. So she's really been listening to that for a long time.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question for you. So if you can go back to high school, what specific training habits would you start earlier than you did when you're older? You're older now, but if you can go back, what would you say would you do differently or start a little bit early to make you better?
I have to say this. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I don't think I would have done too many things different because when my parents went to work, what my batting tee was? I had a pipe driven on the ground. I had a radiator hose as a tee, and I had a ball attached to the steel wire, so I would hit that. I had my bicycle tooth with my arm strengthening things. So I was in middle school and high school, I was always doing something to play. You understand? To get better, to get stronger. Now, obviously in Puerto Rico it was different here. Now the media is different. Now the cell phones are, a lot more coverage, a lot more instruction. We used to run up a hill for strength, down a hill for speed, because we live on a hill. So we did those things, which kids nowadays are not doing.
Right.
Now you have all those elastic bands. I did that thing daily.
Okay.
And nobody taught me to do it. It's just like strength, backwards, batting, tee. We used to get those orange cones that the road things they put. Those are our batting tees.
The construction
Yeah.
cones.
We used to take it from construction, and those are our batting tees.
I love it, man. That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think I could have done much different.
Okay.
Because we trained ourselves.
Okay.
When my parents were at school, working.
Mm-hmm.
We came from school and we were always doing something, And in the summer we had 10 kids in my block that we were always playing bottle taps, eating beer caps with a
Right.
broomstick, playing, we did that every single day,
Okay. I
you
like
know.
that.
So we did a lot of that stuff.
This
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think I would have done anything different because I grew up in an environment that was always targeted towards baseball.
I got you. That's good. I mean, I appreciate that because you appreciate the game and you respect it. And a lot of people
Yes.
don't. They just go out there because they're thinking about the money. You're thinking about the opportunity, just so I can break free. Because something you love. You love the game. But some kids aren't like that. They just look for the money. Because it's flashy, like you said. In the media,
Money's gonna be there if you perform.
yeah, that's
You
true.
gotta
You got to
perform.
perform.
Money's there.
That's right. You're right. So, playing at the next level of play, which you played Puerto Rico, went and played at Florida State, first one draft pick, then you got drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals, and then you play other organizations as well, which you had quite a few jumps you jumped. So my question to you is, what's the biggest jump you see between high schoolers and college baseball that most players aren't ready for? So when they go from high school to college or college to pro, what you see some things that they're not ready for, taking that leap that you can just see visually what you think of, they're not prepared for.
I think a good player, a guy that is an excellent player in high school, and he gets picked by a really good school, and that player, for the most part, is going to be able to handle being a freshman. Obviously, you're still going to have a few weeks that you're like, do I belong at this level? Because now you're talking about high school. You might be your stud in your team. You might have 2 or 3 good players. The rest are just fillers. In college, now you have 33 players, which probably they were the best players picked out of those high school programs, and you'll be together. So it's about learning, do I belong here? But once you start going on and you say, I belong at this level. I always say, every level, you have to learn to play at every level. Every level, it's a difference. I remember growing up in Puerto Rico being good. Then I went to college and I'm like, wow, these guys are huge. I'm little, I'm 160 pounds. But once I got on the field and I realized I can play with these guys,
Mm-hmm.
the fear was gone. Then I got drafted in the first round. I remember my first year going into Pro Bowl. Guys are throwing the same velocities that I've seen. Right? I didn't feel that bad. My biggest jump was my first year playing winter ball.
Oh.
And the first guy that I faced was David Cone, which I already had seen that year on television pitching in the big leagues with the Mets. So I'm like, I'm a rookie, 21 years old, going for my first at bat. I'm facing these guys in the big leagues. Bam, hit a double. And I got to second base. I said, I can play. I can play at this level. And that kind of winner ball for me was like wow, I believe I can play. I was able to make that adjustment in my mind. I think a young player, the ones you see struggle, they don't make that change in their mind. It's not so much physical, it's more mental. It's more about understanding you can do this.
Okay.
Now, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be things that you have to do. There's going to be adjustments you have to make because not every day is going to be good.
Right.
Because those guys already have experience on you. But it's about the mental part of the game that you need to understand that I belong in this one. I remember when my first year in the big leagues. I started out good, then I started struggling. I went struggle, and I'm like, well, I belong here. Well, I thought I think I can play here, And then I get sent down, and my first game I go 5 for 5 in AAA.
Okay.
I'm like, what am I doing here? And I remember we're facing the Indianapolis Colts, which was a AAA for the Montreal Expos. And all those guys you're talking about, Larry Walker, Randy Johnson, I mean, they were stacked with major leaguers, right? The line of the Shields, all those guys were in AAA. And I remember getting to first base, my first hit, and the guy goes, man, what are you doing here? Man, you're a big league player. What are you doing here? And I'm like, I know. What the hell am I doing? He goes, man, it's on your mind, man. It's in your mind.
Right.
You can
Right.
play, kid. You can play. Sure enough, 15 days later, I get back up. I never came back down again because
Thank
all of a
God.
sudden it got into my head, my mind that I could do it.
Wow. That's good.
Being able to relax yourself and see the game slow it down, slow down. Let me tell you, and it's hard for some kids. It's hard. Look, there's a kid that I know is in the big leagues right now with Houston, Cam Smith. I know Cam here since he was 12 years old. I was the one that got him at Florida State. I called when he was 15. I FaceTime uh, the recruiter at the time, and he's not there anymore. And I say, hey, what do you think about this kid? FaceTime. He goes, he's okay. I say, he's okay. Got 95, 97 bats, but he's only 15 years old.
Right.
He's 6'4". He's not okay. He's better than okay.
Right.
He goes, what position? It's a shortstop. Really? How come nobody knows about it? I said, you know about it because I'm telling you right now. He goes, be glad nobody knows about it. So it ended up going like a year later. He committed and he went to Florida State, and this rest is history because he went to Cubs, traded him #1, and they traded him, and now he's in the big leagues. But we talk every once in a while, and he went through a situation where he's struggling a little bit. And I said, look, that's part of it. You're gonna be in the big leagues. You gotta understand that you're gonna struggle, but that's gonna make you better. It's gonna make you stronger. They're making adjustments on you. Now you have to make adjustments with them.
Right.
It's all it is. It's all a mind game.
Right. It goes back to what your dad told you when you left Puerto Rico. That same thing. It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah.
I caught that what you said because Cam Smith is he a rookie this year, Luis?
You're a rookie.
Right.
You're a rookie.
Yeah, because I remember when he had got the call, they showed it on Instagram, the
Yeah.
call he got, and I didn't
Good
know.
kid, man.
I didn't know. I'm looking at his stats. I didn't know he was from Lake Worth.
Yeah, he's
So
in West Palm. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know that. So where did he go to high school?
Palm Beach Central.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. They're
He went
okay.
with Devin Travis and all them guys.
Yeah.
Well, he's a little bit younger than that, but
Yeah,
a lot younger.
that's not bad. I didn't know that. I was looking at his stats right now. I didn't realize it who you were talking about. Now I know who you're talking about. He's very emotional. He's very emotional about the opportunity to go play in the bigs, and I'm
And
appreciate you.
I'll be honest with you, I was super surprised that he got the opportunity as an outfielder because he played shortstop all his life. And he's huge. And I figure, you know what, he'll probably be at third base. But you know what? Put him in right field, got a great arm, a big kid, kind of like Tucker, that
Yeah.
kind of player like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
taken out to the position really well.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, he went to a very good organization, by the way, in as well. Maybe I think so, but which
He's still at home. He's at home.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then for spring training, he comes. He goes back home.
He's at home.
It's all good. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a win-win. We're talking about players from high school trying to go D1, and that's one of the things I want to talk about because I'm writing a book for the guys that just listening. My book is called "Are You Really D1?" Are you really D1? So it's coming out September 30. I'm just had to throw that out there right there. But it goes to this next question: how can a high schooler, Luis, because you've been around high school and you know how South Florida is, how can they prepare the speed of D1 level? How do you prepare them to prepare for that speed? Because they may be the stud in high school, we know, but once they get to D1 level, how do you prepare them for the speed of the game?
I think it's a good question because when I was running the academy, I lost some people because they thought it were D1s, and I said, look, I had a chart, and obviously this chart probably doesn't play anymore because of the size of the players and the speed, but it would tell me major league players, D1 players, D2, JUCO, whatever the specs were, and I would say, look, if you're not in this little parameters here, which you're talking about velocity, foot speed, exit velo, and all that other stuff, you pretty much are not going to be looked at as a D1 player. You're going to be looked at as over here. And parents are like, no, but my son is a D1. I said, look, he's not running the speed that he needs to be. He's not throwing at this velocity that he needs to be. So obviously he's gonna have to go to a JUCO and get better.
Correct.
And I think when I go to the tournaments, some tournaments I don't go as much, but I like the big tournament in Jupiter, and you see the very top teams. Obviously they recruit and they're stacked. Those guys that can perform at those levels are basically pretty much Division 1 players. If you're used to facing good velos, the, facing really good teams, facing top competition, that's going to prepare you for that level because that's what you're going to face. Now, you might be the good player that's facing the local teams, but when you make that jump to go and face a top quality team, you're probably not going to be as successful as you are. I have this player right now. Remember Alexis Rios?
Mm-hmm.
His son is identical to him. He's 15 years old. He's in Puerto Rico. I'm trying to get him here. Kid is hitting bombs, but he's facing 85 to 88, 89 miles an hour. And he's abusing them. So I'm trying to get him, talking to his mom, say, listen, you got to bring him to US. I'm going to put him in a really good team because you don't want to get shell shocked. You don't want to come over here and all of a sudden like, whoa, I've never seen a 95. I've never seen this. So even though he's super talented, you're talking 6'4", 109, 205 pounds. He can run. He can hit the ball out any field. But on an average velocity, let's see how you can do. Let's get you used to playing a little faster. Let's get you used to playing with stronger players. And let me see. You're still going to come out good because you're talented. Your talent is going to rise to that level. But you have to be able to do that. And that's when you separate yourself from the rest.
Wow. Well, episode 109, the very own Luis Alicea. Quick question. I'm going to give you if this is a good question. You didn't expect this one. You had to give me 5 guys who will be your 5 Mount Everest players of all time and why.
Man, that's a good one.
So I had to throw that one at you. I threw a curveball right there. That's a curveball. You didn't know it was coming.
That's a big one because I don't really. You're talking current and all players?
All overall, don't matter. Your players.
Oh,
I can respect it because I like the old with the new. I like the old a lot. So you give
I
me
tell you what,
5 players.
I think Bo Jackson is the one that kind of comes to mind first.
Bo
I
Jackson.
was able to play very little with him in spring training, and I was with the Cardinals, was in Kansas City, and I was like, oh my God. To me, Bo Jackson was like, to me, is the top. The top. I think if he didn't get that injury, um, he would have done a lot of things amazingly. Currently, obviously, you can't right now judge. Is incredible. Current players, current players. Um, I saw Tani in Japan when he was playing. I was working in Japan, and I came over to the United States. This was about 7 years ago.
Okay.
I said, man, I seen this guy throw 100 and hit the bombs, and I'm like, I don't know if I ever gonna see that again.
100?
All time pitching.
Oh, pitching. I thought you said hitting 100. Okay.
No, no,
Hit.
he hit a bomb. I saw him hit a bomb, and I was with my translator. I'm like, is that brother to the guy pitching? He goes, no, that's the guy pitching. So top player, wow. Oof.
I mean, because you've seen some great guys in your time. Come on. There's some great guys. Bo Jackson is one.
Bo Jackson.
Time. Man, I'm glad you said that because I asked every one of my guests, and I put Bo Jackson up there as well. Even though he had a short career, the guy was just a specimen. He just
It's a specimen, man. The guy was, you're talking guys, Kurt Gibson.
oh yeah, Kurt, back in the day, Kurt.
Kurt Gibson was a monster, man. That dude, man, he had some speed. Larry Walker.
Oh wow, Larry
Larry
Walker. He was
Larry
a
Walker.
bad boy. That boy
He
can hit.
dude, that dude can do it all. He can run. He could throw. He
He
could
had throw.
hit. He was five tools, man. Five tools.
Larry Walker. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Should be. Or he ain't close. I don't think he is. Yeah, he is. He is.
Larry Walker. Because he played with the he played with the Montreal Expos.
Montreal. Montreal. And then Colorado Rockies.
Okay. So
Huh.
you
Let me think.
no
Let me
pitchers?
think.
Who was some? I know one of them. I'm not gonna say his
Pedro
name. Who?
Martinez. Pedro Martinez on the pitch.
Everybody says that about him. Everybody.
Dude,
They love
man. I
Pedro.
didn't I remember my first time I ever faced him in St. Louis. He he would he threw me a ball in and I turned on it and I home run but barely foul. Dude, the very next pitch, boom, and got one of my ribs. Damn, I'm like, but I was
Right.
like, I'm gonna go get you. I ended
Yeah.
up lifetime off of him. I think I ended up close to over 250 off of him lifetime. But I faced him a bunch of times. Um, oof.
Pedro, Larry Walker, Bo Jackson.
I got a couple more for you.
I can't believe you haven't said a couple. There's a couple other guys can't believe you haven't said their names yet. Because you played with some guys, some cats, some real good cats, some guys that can play. They can play. You played with played against Barry.
Oh, I'll tell
You
you
played
what. I'll
against
tell you what.
Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan.
Okay, Nolan Ryan, Barry Bonds, those guys are there. I mean, I only got one at bat of Nolan Ryan. I got a hit, almost took his head off. Then I was afraid. I was gonna get hit when next time I faced him.
I
But in
would
the
too.
third inning, he pulled a groin on a swinging bunt. So I was glad God was looking out for me. Yeah, yeah,
Nolan.
man.
Oh man, I can only imagine. I can only imagine that. And what about your boy?
Hey,
What's,
listen, Pudge Rodriguez was a
oh
beast.
yes.
Pudge was a beast. Um, I played with him 3 years, and man, that dude, man,
He had a hose. God can
he
hose
was
you.
work. He was a workaholic. Man. The dude worked out every morning. That dude at home, he sat with a bat in his hands and twirled that thing around. Everywhere in his house had a bat with batting gloves. So he was watching TV was on. He didn't even pay. He just dude, he was incredible, man. His mind, yeah. He
How
be
was
very bummed.
how was Mark McGuire? I've never had a chance to ask anybody to play with him. How was Mark McGuire?
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Okay,
He's a good guy. He
because
mind his business. Good guy. You know, I only saw him. Obviously when we played against him, and he was always really respectful and nice. And obviously I was half his size, but very nice guy.
he's from California. I think he's from California. Big guy.
Yeah.
But you played against some other guys. I mean, one last question before we get out of here. And this has been great, man. You've dropped some nuggets. You played against some great guys. Is there any play that you can remember, you can recall that before ESPN got ESPN there they are today, a play that you did or you've seen that you wanted to share with us? Like a play, like any play that we didn't see on TV that you could share with us.
You know, Ossie and I would always work on. There's a play that Ossie made with me that I kind of fed the ball to him, and we actually worked on that. We actually worked on, like, let's say a hit and run happens, so we will say, if it's hard, give me the ball quick. So we'll take it, we'll jump up, and then we'll throw in the air. So it was a play that I went ahead and started it. I flipped the ball to him, and he hit the ball, he hit the back, jumped over, and threw in the air to first base to finish the double play. Well, we're playing in Cincinnati, and there was a ball hit to him, and it was a hit and run. So he gave me the ball really quickly, and Barry Larkin was at first base. So Barry Larkin was fast. So I got the ball, jumped up in the air, threw it, that double play, and I remember seeing him going from under me, and sliding through.
Okay.
That was like a place that I'm like, I thought I was gonna get hit, but I didn't get hit because nowadays the infielders get protected. The other play that I saw, I was there, was the play that Gene Edmonds went back and dove towards the fence. and caught that ball. I think Howard hit it.
Ryan.
Infielder Howard for Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
Now, what was impressive about that play was that the pitch was a breaking ball, and Jim Edmonds I don't know how he did it, but he always used to see the signs from the catcher, and he would call Salmon's name, he called Fish coming your way, and they could hear him. Hey, G Anderson, Garrett Anderson, G coming your way. You know, he would always tell the outfielders, hey, coming your way. And I happened to look back before that pitch, and he was like playing like really, really shallow. I'm like, dude, this dude's playing shallow. No big deal. He knows he's Gold Glover. You know, he knows his thing. Ball comes in, and I hear him go, Fish coming your way. So he had an idea. He always shift, like it started before the pitch. He always had a momentum going before the pitch happened. And the ball was hit. I'm thinking like, there ain't no way to make that play. And he just looks up, he sits down, looks up, and then he dives like this and catches the ball. And I'm like, oh my God, that's probably the best play I've ever seen.
Wow. Wow.
And that play you can find it in the highlights.
Really?
Yes, you can find it in the highlights.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Gene Edmonds, amazing catch. You'll see it.
Man, it's good, man. This is, man. I got one more question for you because you've played with some great guys. But if you had a choice, we don't deal with Magic, but if you had an opportunity to play with one guy that you never played with, who would that be and why?
I think I would like to see Otani in everyday basis. And how he
Otani?
how he prepares, how he goes about his business, because it ain't easy being good as a hitter, but then he also has to pitch now, even though he's been out for two. You know, another guy that I would always, I didn't get a chance to play, but play against him was Albert Pujols,
Oh,
because this is a guy that wasn't even drafted. You know, he made the team out of spring training because somebody got injured, and then he never looked back. You know, and he had a way of doing things. He was a professional in all sense of the world. I mean, I played with a lot of good players, and they learn how to prepare. How important was preparation for them? You know, like Ozzy would prepare how to hit it. You know, he had his routine that he did every day. Then he prepared how to hit. He became a better hitter. He wasn't a good hitter when he first started. He became a 300 hitter. Then I played with Pudge. I played with Palmero. I played with all those guys, and I can tell you what they did. You know, I think Otani is a unique individual because to see what he does on the mound and on the field are two different things. But he works hard. He works hard.
man, you played with Ozzy. I know we're getting ready to end it out, but you played with Ozzy, the great wizard. The guy was just, he wasn't that big, but the guy can play, and he had an IQ out of this world. He just knew where the ball was coming all the time. He was just there, because a lot of times you see guys that huge shortstops now, they're huge.
L big, 6 foot plus.
Yeah, and I'm
Little
like,
guys don't play no more.
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to compare. I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. I was an outfielder. But I look at these, I mean, even this travel ball, I'm watching these guys like 6'4",
Big.
and they're big. I'm like, dude, I'm saying to myself, eventually, you're probably going to be in the outfield if you go to the next level.
Look at the big leagues, how big they are.
Like, they're huge. But, you know, closing out, I'm going to close it out. But there's one guy that I want to talk about real quick, not because of anything, but we're talking about shifting positions. Because a lot of guys don't like to move. They don't like to move their position. They want to be in one place all the time because they've played this all the time. But going back to your guy that plays with Houston now, he played shortstop. Now he's playing in the MLB. He's playing outfield. I want to talk about what's his name, A-Rod. When he went to the Yankees, he's been a shortstop forever. He goes to the Yankees, and he has a choice. Either you're gonna get with the Yankees system, you're gonna have to play third base. How important is that to join a different team to adjust to the coaching method so we can win a championship? Because a lot of guys don't want to do that, Luis. You know that they don't want to move; they want to stay there. But he was pretty. I know some things that went on outside we don't know about. I do know that because he has an ego. He's been playing shortstop forever. The guy's a Gold Glove. He was an MVP. He was the very first one to make that big, huge contract. why is it so important to understand coaching and chemistry so you can get to the next level as far as that championship?
I think it comes with a player. If you go in the team, like for instance, A-Rod going from the Rangers to the Yankees, he went into a winning situation right away,
Right.
championship situation. So what do you want to do? You want to be a shortstop and not win, or you want to be in third base and become a champion and have that legacy of championships? And I think he embraced it. I think that's huge. It's kind of we're talking about Devers,
Yeah.
earlier.
Right.
If Devers embraces, if he would have embraced that with the Red Sox, he probably would have still be there, but he didn't embrace it. And I think the Reds he needed somebody next to him or his agent or somebody next to him to let him on. No, listen, why don't you make this? Because obviously you're going to continue to grow and get thicker and grow. You know what? Be honest with the guy. I think the team is better and we become a championship team. At the end of the year, we want to raise that trophy. There's going to be some obstacles throughout the year, but at the end of the year, we want to not point fingers at each other, raise a trophy and celebrate. And I think we can do that if you're there.
Right.
A-Rod did that.
Right.
And I think as a player, you have to understand what it takes. The bottom line is winning at that level. Trust me, the bottom line is winning. I remember being as a coach with the Red Sox when we won the World Series in 2004. I remember in 2004, I was in the minor league manager, but in 2007, I was a coach there.
Okay.
And I remember the struggles we had throughout the year. But I remember how gratifying it was when everybody put their egos aside, checked them in the door, and everybody played together. That's the bottom line. That's what you really want to do. And I think as a player, the ego needs to be checked out. Check it out the door. Put a box there and check it out. And then let's see how far we can go as a team. That's the bottom line.
Would you say that I know we get ready to end it, but would you say that's how the Dodgers are so successful?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not a Dodger fan, but you got to respect them. They know what they're doing.
Bill, they got six starting pitchers, six number ones. Well, I wouldn't say six, but four out of the six are they're number ones anywhere. They're loaded. They're loaded. I mean, they're really good. For you to beat the Dodgers, you have to be, I don't know, man. You gotta be lucky because they're good. And then you get a day off to somebody, and then you have to face somebody that's gonna do some damage too. It's a really good problem as a rubber hats over there. Really good problem to have.
Yeah.
And they really put the right pieces in his hands for him to
Correct.
manage. And I feel bad because some people say, you know what, I'm a believer. I think he should have won more than he has won. I think, but he's being managed by upstairs, and they made decisions that I was like, why did he do that? But hey, that comes from upstairs.
Right.
So as long as he follows those rules, he still has a job.
Right.
If he would not follow that and would have backfired, he would have been gone. He'd been gone. But they're loaded, man. They're just good, and I don't think too many other teams can compete with that.
Yeah. And they're gonna be like that for a while, unless they get hurt, unless they start getting injuries, and I don't see that happen because they got someone behind them. Ready
They
to
got
play.
somebody behind that can do it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate this. Is episode 109, Luis Alessia. Man, it's 13-year career. It's been great to have you on the show, man. But I want to tell you thank you. Appreciate it. And we will talk some more. But if you can give a closing remark before I close out, it'd be greatly appreciated for the listeners.
Listen, for those listeners out there, man, take it a day in stride. For those young kids out there that want to get to where I was, get to the promised lands, the dream, me becoming a major league, but prepare yourself better. Go to school, get an education, go to college. It's really, really difficult for a high school player to make it unless you get drafted in the top 3 rounds. It's really difficult. There are exceptions out there. But if you can get an education and go through college, that's to me the best route to take. You mature at your own level. You're gonna get training. You're gonna get bigger and stronger. And the way to go about the business in the minor leagues, you gotta understand something. Minor league teams are designed to develop 1, 2, or 3 players. The rest are just there to fill. If you don't get drafted with a high amount of money, chances are you're not gonna have a real successful minor league career or play a lot. I learned that as a manager in the minor leagues.
Okay.
I got drafted in the 22nd round. Really? You don't have a chance. You don't have a chance because when the general farm director tells the coach, this guy can play every day, this guy's going to be able to play 2 or 3 days a week, this guy's going to play if he plays. There's not too many managers are going to do what I did. I will call the other, hey, how you feel? I don't feel okay. Good, take a day off. Boom, you're going to play. You know, not too many managers are going to do that for you. So therefore, your career is going to be very, very short. So understand that if the money's not invested in you, there's very difficult time that you're going to make it. You're going to have to do some astronomical things for you to do that. So go to college, get an education, work hard, and then if baseball is going to be there for you, we'll be there for you.
Right.
Don't think you're missing something. No. Look, Cam Smith could have got drafted out of high school in the first round. He decided to go to college. Guess what? He got drafted in the first round 3 years later because he's still the same player, improving, getting bigger in college. Now, would he got into the big leagues at 18? No. If he would have signed out of high school, no. He got to the big leagues at 21, 22, at the same amount of time that he got there when he went to college. 3 years in college. Plus now, he belongs to lifetime alma mater, which is Florida State. That's going to be in his veins for the rest of his life. You understand? He's going to bleed garden and gold. He's got something to go for. He's got something to look for. And you know, guess what? Most of my friends are the guys that I met in college, not the guys that I met in professional baseball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, professional baseball, everybody's there playing and hope you break a leg so I can play. In college, guess what? It's a family. Everybody pulls that rope from the same side. And those are the guys that I associate with in today's life. Those are my friends. So that's the message for you.
Man, this is good. Hey, I had to drop the mic on that one, Luis. I had to drop the mic. That was good. Wow, thank you, man. 13-year-old vet, Luis Alessia, also #1 draft pick, 1986 draft by the St. Louis Cardinals. It's been great to have you on the show, man. This has been really, really good. You've dropped some great nuggets. All the people that are listening, I'm quite sure I'm going to have a lot of comments. People are going to be texting me, sending me all kind of message, but I'm going to close it out. Thank you very much, Luis. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, you know, but I want to close out and say, hey, for all the guys and girls and mothers and fathers that listen to this, download this podcast, I want to ask you one quick question. Based on what he just said, based on what Luis, the vet, said, my question is this: where are you being led? LED. L stands for listen. Listen to everything that Luis has said today. Listen. God gave us all 2 ears. The problem is we're talking too much and not listening enough. That's just what it is. I'm going old school like Luis' father said. You know, you got to adjust to what you're getting to. And the old word says, faith comes by hearing the word of God. You got to listen. And once you listen to it, you got to execute. Execute on what you just heard. Because, you know, you're not going to get to the next level at D1 or pro. You're not going to get there unless you execute what you just learned. Learn from the vets. He's made it easy for you. He laid it all out to you. Listen, execute. The last letter is D. D stands for dominate. Dominate. Other words, be the best you can possibly be. You can't be Luis. You can't be Seville. You can't be Bo Jackson. You can't be Nolan Ryan, but you can be the best you. So God's given us all a purpose in life, and I believe that. So go ahead and have a great life. Listen, execute, and dominate. Lead. Where are you being led? This is very own Coach Larry, a.k.a. Seville. I'm closing out. Thanks, Luis. Have a great and blessed day, brother. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for